The nicest war in history. And obviously, it was Canadian. Hey friends. So, let me tell you about the time Canada went to war. No, not like Call of Duty war. There were no tanks, no explosions, nobody yelling in a cave. This was the most polite war in human history. A war so passive-aggressive, it could have been fought in line at a Tim Hortons. It was between Canada and Denmark. Over what? A rock. A single, cold, lifeless, pointless rock in the Arctic. Hans Island. Now, for those who've never heard of Hans Island, which is probably everyone, it's a small island about 1.3 square kilometers, midway between Ellesmere Island and Greenland. Smaller than a Costco, no trees, no people, no real resources, not even a Timmy's drive-thru. And this is Canada, so that's how you know it's bad. It's just wind, snow, and a few confused birds trying to migrate away from the nonsense. But in the 1970s, Canada and Denmark both looked at this sad, frozen potato and said, That's definitely mine. Because when you're bored, even a chunk of icy nothing starts to look sexy. So, how did the war begin? Did we send the military? Did Denmark roll in with warships and pastries? No. Canada showed up, planted a flag, and left behind a bottle of Crown Royal, because nothing says sovereignty like a free drink in sub-zero weather. And then Denmark showed up. They saw the flag, said, "Oh, that's adorable." They took it down, planted their own flag, and left behind a bottle of schnapps. This, my friends, was how it started. Not with bullets, not with bombs, but with a diplomatic exchange of alcohol. This was the beginning of what the media, in their infinite wisdom, called the Whisky War. A name so charming, it could be the title of a Hallmark movie about soldiers who fall in love over maple syrup. And here's the thing. This went on for over 40 years. 4-0. No shots fired, just polite flag swapping and casual day drinking in -40. It was like the Cold War, except the only things getting nuked were the livers. Picture this, a Canadian helicopter lands, two guys hop out, plant a flag, pose for a photo, and leave a bottle of Crown Royal on a rock. Then a few weeks later, here come the Danes. They land, shake their heads like disappointed IKEA dads, swap in their own flag, take the whiskey, leave some schnapps and fly off. At some point, we should have just left a cooler and a guest book. Even the polar bears were like, "Are you guys gonna fight or what? I've been watching this reality show for 4 decades." Eventually, this caught the attention of the United States. Of course it did. Some guy at the Pentagon looked at a map and said, "Hey, what's this empty square near Canada? Can we put a missile base there?" Canada and Denmark looked up from their drinks and said, "Absolutely not. This is our sandbox. Now go play with Guam or something." Russia peeked in too. Squinted at the whole thing, took a long sip of vodka and said, "If this was ours, we'd already have a hotel, 3 submarines, and a Putin statue." And then they went back to planting metal flags under the ocean, because subtlety is not really their vibe. Even China was curious, sent a weather balloon. We just waved politely and said, "Just don't block the schnapps." But the best part, no one ever actually got mad. This was international conflict conducted like a game of backyard badminton, with booze. Finally, in 2022, the two nations got together and said, "All right, let's end this, before someone gets frostbite." So, what did they do? Did they wrestle in the snow? Did they have a diplomatic arm wrestle? No. They split the island in half, like a frozen divorce agreement. Denmark, you get the north. Canada will take the south. Cool, now let's never talk about this again. And just like that, the world's most polite war ended. No medals, no victory parades, just a lot of empty bottles and one weird page in the history books. So what's the takeaway here? In a world full of chaos, sometimes the best approach to conflict is booze, politeness, and snow pants. Hans Island may be a useless rock, but it reminded the world that not every disagreement has to end in bloodshed. Sometimes, it ends with schnapps and a handshake. And if that's not the most Canadian thing ever, I don't know what is. So next time someone tells you wars are inevitable, just say, "Have you tried trading flags and whiskey instead?" Thank you. Stay weird, stay polite, and remember, even a frozen rock can teach us something if you're drunk enough.